Matthew Lawrence is now sharing his Me Too story from Marvel, where he was invited up to the hotel room, folks, and we all know what that means.
Never go up to the hotel room.
Just don't do it. Paris Hilton knew not to do it.
Take wisdom from Paris Hilton. She knew not to do it.
She was invited personally up to Harvey Weinstein's hotel room, and she just didn't want to go.
And he was represented by the William Morris Endeavor Agency.
He said that he lost his agency. He went to the hotel room, which I can't believe that they would send me to, of a very prominent Oscar award-winning director who showed up in his robe, asked me to take my clothes off, and said he needed to take Polaroids of me, he said.
I'm telling you right now, I'm calling this. In 20 years, we will have Me Too 2. It'll be called Men Too. It'll be called Me Too 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Gay Too?
And it will be all the men who have been propositioned by directors to get roles in films, and there will be another scandal of equal size.
Really?
Yep. I believe that will end up happening.
It's not the same because women leveraged it as like misogyny in Hollywood.
Well, I mean, at that time, it'll just like the power dynamics will have shifted by that time. I think it will be a discussion people will be willing to have.
It's also a unique thing that I think females are more liable to do, which is like leveraging that plausible deniability that like, I didn't know what I was doing, but it's actually just that you miscalculated a gamble of your reckless behavior.
And Bryan Singer has been accused of this stuff for decades.
Really?
X-Men director. Oh yeah, like he's one of those names.
In a gay way?
Yes. We're talking like Eyes Wide Shut parties. Type level stuff. Bryan Singer's been accused of this for decades, and that we're talking all the way back to the early X-Men days, 2000s.
He said, not a lot of guys, in my opinion, have come out and talked about this in the industry. He said he was propositioned to get a major role many times in his life. And he said men go through this as well, whether it's another woman or another man in power. I don't believe that female directors are doing this. I think our society is less ready to hear that situation is going on with men than they are with women.
We talked about this at one point, about a female Aaron Taylor Johnson's girlfriend, who was a director, who invited him over to her house
to read scripts.
I don't buy for a second that
But then they ended up getting married. I think that's what it was. It was like the long game that she was playing with
that's
him.
One good one. But I'm saying you're telling me there isn't another female director?
Creep. I don't think that that's a normal thing.
Maybe not normal, but I bet you it's happened. I bet you it's happened.
And women are the ones who like to take gambles like that, using sex as a bargaining chip. And then when they miscalculate and they don't get the results that they wanted out of an encounter like that, meaning you don't get the role that you wanted, that's kind of when you save that story in your pocket for a decade or so later.
When the book deal comes along.
When the premenopausal symptoms set in. That's what a lot of people say. They theorize that Me Too was sort of a symptom of the fact that a lot of starlets in Hollywood reached menopausal age or like premenopausal age, and that kind of uniquely female hysteria set in.
So here are the directors. So let's go through it more. It says, should we watch the clip quick?
Sure.
Let me put it on screen here, guys. Here's the clip. Remember, this is Matthew Lawrence talking about it.
Is it?
It's loading. Oh, I hope they didn't delete it in the time that we've been waiting for this to post. That would be stupid. Let's refresh and see if it comes up in place this time.
Whether it's another woman or another man in power.
Yeah.
There's been many times in my life where I've been propositioned to get a huge role. I've lost my agency because I went to the hotel room, which I can't believe they would send me to, of a very prominent Oscar award-winning director who showed up in his robe.
The Harvey Weinstein
asked me to take my clothes off and said he needed to take Polaroids of me, and that if I did X, Y, and Z, I would be the next Marvel character. I didn't do that.
What's X, Y, and Z?
He doesn't list what X, Y, and Z are. So let that be known. He doesn't list what X, Y, and Z are.
My agency fired me because I left this director's room.
So he's being difficult is what they would say to a woman. You're being difficult to work with. And I'm not going to lie. The first thing that I thought of was when we talked about Diane Kruger. And when she felt like a piece of meat, these are not analogs, but
that's what Imrata said.
what Diane Kruger said, she felt like a piece of meat because she had to go in full garb
costumes?
from the movie Troy. I think I have that here. Yeah, right here. So she talked about, I remember testing for Troy and having to go to the studio head in costume. Kruger recalled on the Wolfgang Peterson directed film.
Okay.
And says basically that she felt like a piece of meat because they wanted her to see what she would look like in costume, which is not the same thing because this is a film industry. You have to be camera ready. They need to know what you look like in costume to know what you're going to look like on camera. But it is at least...
I think the vibe in the room is what she was bothered by.
Yeah. Yep.
It can be both. It can be both a practical reason and excuse that it would make sense.
And you could see where the power would later get abused by the same person
Yes.
using a similar line in a more nefarious purpose, right?
I don't doubt that there are powerful men of a homosexual persuasion in Hollywood that do similar things to other men.
We already know that Hollywood is far more slants higher in LGBTQ than a lot of other industries. I think we're going to end up at a period in time where we're going to see a lot of these stories come out.
But it's not going to happen though, because they still have the claim to oppression. Straight men never had that in Hollywood, so it was able to be weaponized against them. Me Too was able to be weaponized against them. Gay men are not going to have the same consequences for the same behavior in the direction to men, because you can always. I'm sure there are other dudes with similar experiences to Matthew Lawrence who are not going to come out and say anything because you will get called a homophobe.
Well, what if it's a white director doing it to a black actor? Then they can claim racism and do it. I think that 20 years down the line, the world could
You're going to need an out like that?
I think in 20 years, the world could look very different, and that this could end up being... No, but I'm saying in 20 years, the world we live in will look very different, and these stories will come out thirsty for new sets of people's struggles and horrors that they can exploit. The media will then go and push this narrative, and it will be very, very interesting.
The problem is, Me Too never had any intention of exposing the real predators in Hollywood, the ones who hurt children.
Yeah.
And this possible next iteration you're talking about isn't going to do that either.
Didn't the same thing happen to Terry Crews? He came out and he said that somebody fondled him or I don't know. I didn't look it up. I remember something like this happening to Terry Crews. Which is funny because I was just looking at a fake poll this weekend that says who should be the next Snow White, and it's Rachel Zegler, Ana de Armas, and it lists Gal Gadot, and then number 4 is Terry Crews, and everybody voted for Terry Crews.
I'm sure there are a lot of male stars out there who have similar experiences of being objectified, right?
He accused Adam Vennett, a former Hollywood talent agent, of groping him at a Hollywood event. Since opening up about his assault, Crews has been an advocate of the Me Too movement.
There's also Brendan Fraser.
Yep.
Same thing.
Yep.
He got groped by the president of the Hollywood Foreign Press Association.
Clef the Misfit
and that
says
guy
Crews
never
lied about
faced
it.
consequences. Right?
No, he did. He did. He got in trouble
The biggest scandal
for...
that the Hollywood Foreign Press Association went through was about race.
Yeah.
A race hustling scandal. It had nothing to do with race.
That guy got in trouble for being anti-quota or something like that, or anti-COVID mandate.
Well, not anti, but they just found out that the voting committee wasn't black enough.
Yeah.
And he never got in real trouble for groping another man.
And so it ends up ruining Brendan Fraser's life for 15. Well, I think his ex-wife did plenty of that on her own too, taking him for all his money. And so, it's crazy because for this is, I don't think I would have gotten the job. If I'm being honest, he's not a well-known actor, and Marvel is hiring a lot of bigger name celebrities now.
Are you mad that you got propositioned, or are you mad that you didn't get the opportunity that you wanted?
No. I think he's mad that he got propositioned, because if he was mad that he didn't get what he wanted, he would have gone through with it.
Did he specify that he didn't do it?
Yeah, he says he didn't do it.
Okay.
He said that's what he did.
I think also another issue with this that makes it less likely what you're saying, like that men will have their own like gay too, is that men are a lot more assertive and individualistic and pioneering and
dude, if they want that job, I think they will do a lot.
We got one from Gabby Hayes. Yep. I missed the first hour of the show because my boss was talking my ear off. Welcome back, PCC. The reason I no longer dislike Mondays. Also, yes, Terry Crews claimed sexual assault. Adam Sandler helped out or something.
And then I saw Clef the Misfit in the chat say that that Terry Crews lied, but I don't know if that's true, so I'm not gonna speak to that.
Anyway, what I was saying is like men are far more assertive and far more likely to say no in a situation where they feel uncomfortable. Women are not nearly as psychologically capable of doing that.
Hollywood men that are desperate for a break.
The more woman-like they are.
I think that they will. I'm not saying all of them, but I'm saying that you're more likely to find a desperate man willing to do something for a big break than some dude on a street corner who works a regular 9-to-5 job with a family. I think these people, they do obscene things to get the.
I'm picturing Tyrell from Mr. Robot.
So I do think it's possible that it ends up coming out later, but I mean, no comeuppance has come to Bryan Singer or any of these directors that have done it before. So I think a lot of it, I mean, and maybe you're right that it just will always be swept under the rug, but the world changes.
It's the same way that we talk about like the gender pay gap. Like men are more suited to negotiating in their own favor and advocating for themselves, even in just basic things like that.
Yeah.
And in a Me Too hotel room situation, they're more likely to just leave, and they also have a fighting chance, I guess, supposedly against a man. Like they do have physical strength on their side.
There's a $20 one right there from James K.
He said, #MePoo. I love our intellectual conversation.
Yes, we do. Phil, good for you. I watched this Terminator movie this weekend because of us.
Let's not take a fucking minute. Let's go again.
I watched Terminator Salvation this weekend because of that quote. I watched all 1, 2, 3 Salvation and stopped there. I didn't watch Genesis or any of that after that because I finished Terminator: The Sarah Connor Chronicles, which I loved. I just adored that show, and it's just sad to know that era of Hollywood, which is literally a show of like 2 strong female characters and a mom who loves her son. Which is like, I'm watching it, I'm like, this is revelatory in how uncommon this is now. The son even like rebels and like, he's like, you just want me to like, he literally gets mad at his mom because she loves him so much. He's like, you just mad that I like somebody other than you. Because he's got a girlfriend now, even though the apocalypse is coming. And yeah. One thing that movie told me, reminded me, is just how rare, like how important it is, how physical physique matters, because they have a bunch of these male actors who are all great actors. Garrett Dillahunt is a great actor. They have all of these actors in there to try and play Terminators, and just none of them are Arnie. They're just, they're not. They're just never
because they're not buff enough, or because they don't have the gravitas.
They don't have his voice, the unique delivery of that Austrian accent. Like they all try to do the robotic delivery, and it just doesn't work when the guys do it. When Summer Glau does it in her role, it's different because she's playing a female-looking Terminator, but it's almost more. It's like she's learning as she goes. Like there's a trope that she has that comes from the movies where somebody will say something to her and then she'll repeat it back to them almost in the form of a question. And it's very, very good. If anybody here has not seen Terminator: The Sarah Connor Chronicles and like the first 2 Terminator movies, go watch it. The other reason you should go watch it is now we know how important it is, and you talk about this all the time, how much they love Easter eggs and they love shoving the Easter eggs down your throat. The Easter eggs in this show are so much better than the Easter eggs in things like now. If they made that show now, every 3rd line would be, "I'll be back." Or "Come with me if you want to." Like those lines are in there. Like she says, "Come with me if you want to live" in the pilot episode, but you don't get a bunch of those like over the top lines that you would expect if they made the show now, which would be just like, hey, remember that? Remember that? Yeah, exactly.
Member berries are different than Easter eggs, though.
Yes.
But they both annoy me.
Yep. Somebody says Keanu Reeves would be a great Terminator. He's too nice to be the Terminator, and I don't think he's big enough. I do think that the guy
John Wick is more like suave looking.
Yeah, like he's more of a Phantom than a Terminator. He's just a very dangerous Phantom. But there aren't a lot of actors like. It would be interesting to see somebody. I guess Jason Momoa is a pretty big dude. I don't want
more derivative shit.
Yeah.
No more.
Yep.
Make something that is different but equally good.
And Holyverse says, I liked Kristana Loken as the TX in the third one. She's great. Like, she's actually, as that character is actually really good because she got really in shape for the role, just like the lead actress did for the original movies, right? Like what's her name? No, I can't remember off the top of my head. But like she did a really good job in that. So everyone should go see it. Somebody says to Tom Hanks, that would be hilarious.
Did we just use all the good ideas?
Yes,
up and there's
we did.
No more.
We did. We used all.
Maybe
of them.
we did. Maybe there was a finite supply of stories.
It's crazy too because
you can't write more.
In Terminator 2, it's so crazy how much bigger Sarah Connor is because she got in such good shape for the sequel. Well, no, they do a thing. No, I just mean buffer.
Oh, buffer.
No, she was just a normal looking woman in the first one, but in the sequel, she has her sister as her stand-in for these scenes where they split the character, and you can see a vast physical difference between her physical shape and her sister's because they're not she's just in so much better shape than her sister. Yes, Linda Hamilton. I'm sorry, it's one of those days.
CGI biceps.
Yeah.
Natalie Portman.
Yep. And that would be. Somebody says Sylvester Stallone as Terminator. I don't really think that would work either, to be honest, because Stallone is actually more of he's a genuine, he can do emotional acting more so than Arnie can.
You know what's the most surprising part of this Matthew Lawrence story?
Yeah.
Is that Marvel stars are already so sexless to begin with. Why would you need to hypothetically, take naked Polaroids of him to check whether?
Oh, we need to make sure
he's
you're in
fit
shape
enough for the role.
We need to make sure you're in shape.
Yeah, what's that about?
Which makes no sense, anyways, because Dolph Lundgren as the Terminator. That would have been interesting. They give them time to get in shape, so it really wouldn't matter as much, anyways, right?
They did that to Chris Pratt.
Yeah, they say by this period of time you need to put on this much muscle and stuff like that.
They kind of like getting the dumpy ones and
putting
making
them in shape.
Making a marketing. It's good for marketing to
look how buff he is.
Look at his transformation. Don't you want to see the movie?
They did that with somebody says Hugh Jackman is not sexless. You think? But he's not even Disney Marvel.
Not MCU.
Yeah, he's Fox Marvel.
Different.
So that's different. That's a little bit different. So he says The Rock is the Terminator. Now I'm going off.
Also, being buff doesn't make you not sexless.
Yeah.
Look at The Rock.
Yeah. Who's an example of someone that you see as not sexless these days? Rami Malek. I can't think.
I can't think.
With the movies, you'd have to go to the movies that they're making, that have would you see Zendaya as a sexless actress given Euphoria? Or
dude, that's so funny because
Sydney Sweeney's not sexless.
Euphoria was literally about Zendaya having a relationship, fictional relationship with this trans girl as a lesbian or whatever. Yeah. And then everyone just made it about Sydney Sweeney stealing her brunette friend's boyfriend, which doesn't happen in real life.
Sydney Sweeney might be an example of a sex symbol. Yeah, she oozes sex appeal.
Who played
It's the eyes.
The girl in Glass Onion. What was her name? The girl who played Whiskey in Glass Onion.
I don't remember her name, but yeah, she's got it. I would say Priyanka Chopra doesn't look sexless to me, but that's just
no.
And that's
I don't like her.
She's sultry.
Sometimes I just can't divorce the
But like
person from
that's what
their.
that's what she ruined. She ruins it in Citadel with all the swearing, which is just so shoehorned in and over the top. Where I'm like, you're already petite and small. Like one of the mistakes they made in that movie, in that show, was like they had her doing a bunch of hand-to-hand combat when they could have just had her using a gun. Like it would have looked more believable if she's just using a gun, right? And then she's like cussing and swearing to sound cool and hard. And I'm like, nobody's buying it, dude. You're like a petite, really hot Indian woman. You don't need to cuss like a sailor. Just shoot the people and move on with your day.
I really don't like the way the scriptwriters shoehorn in like a lot of swearing.
Yeah.
It's a
millennial
corny. It's so corny and ham-fisted and childish. It's like listening to a 13-year-old try to like say the F word for the first time in front of his parents. Like I hate it.
Well, I'll tell you what. For the Matthew Lawrence thing, I think that Marvel is. I don't think anything will end up coming of this. I do want to ask you this question though. So these were the directors that they. So they mentioned that this was a Marvel director. So the directors that it could have been were Taika Waititi, Ryan Coogler, Destin Daniel Cretton, or Sean Levy. My guess. No, I mean I don't want to. What would the term be? I don't want to slander anyone here. Would there be any one of those that you would pick out as the person that's more likely than the other, or are we getting into libel territory there?
Yeah, we are.
Okay, we'll leave it alone. We will not mention any of those names. Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.